again, we gather in search of the truth, dark, and mystery. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Big development today in the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. According to state and local officials and court documents, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Koberger has been arrested. He was arrested and arraigned this morning in Pennsylvania.
We have new details on what Brian Koberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latex gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
You guys know what to do, just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. Good to see everybody tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. You guys know what to do. Today, I think we're going to have an excellent show, as tonight we'll be breaking down the latest developments in the preliminary hearing of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk. Joining me will be Dr. Vona, and together we'll analyze the testimony presented in court, watch the Lance Twiggs interview, and examine messages exchanged between Twiggs and Robinson. Our goal isn't to determine guilt or innocence. Instead, we'll be looking at the psychology behind the testimony, discussing whether there are indicators of possible deception, consistency, or credibility, and what stands out from a behavioral perspective. Remember, a preliminary hearing is not a trial. The judge is simply deciding whether prosecutors have presented enough evidence to establish probable cause for the case to move forward to trial. Let's dive into the testimony and separate the facts from opinions and see what today's evidence may reveal. Let's bring today's guest on the show, Dr. Jamie Vona. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, it's been a up and down week so far. You know, I think this is going to be my last day in this possibly haunted house. As I've been telling you guys, I haven't seen anything crazy ever since I called them out on their, on the house being possibly haunted. Activity has ceased. I hope it stays like that.
That door one was a little creepy.
Yeah, well, all that was at the same day. I heard a voice, and then
I would have freaked out.
I may have. I mean, but when I was an officer, there was a situation one time where we got a call to a church, and this was probably about 2:00 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. And when we got to the church, it was for an audible alarm, and there was some of the church staff that were there. I guess they had some sort of late night thing, and there were some folks that had stayed behind, and they were hanging out, I guess, in the basement area. And then the alarm on the 3rd floor started going off, so they got worried that somebody may have entered while they were downstairs. And so they called us out there, and we get there, and there's no alarm going off. We talked to the ladies, and we're like, all right, well, me and another officer named James were like, all right, we'll go inside real quick. So we go in, and as we're approaching the front of the door, the alarm starts going off, so we can hear it. Oh, okay. There's the audible alarm. We notify dispatch when you're doing something like this. You notify them to clear radio traffic. That way, nobody is trying to, pull somebody over or run something at the same time while you're in the building. You need help and you're calling for help and you can't get out because somebody's running a license plate or something. And so they clear radio traffic, and we go in there. We climb up to the 3rd floor. When we get to the 3rd floor, the alarm turns off. No big deal, whatever. We start looking through the rooms, and at the last room on the left was like a rec room, and there was a window that was open, and it was kind of moving back and forth. And I thought to myself, well, there's the culprit. That's what's causing the alarm to go off. So we go and I secure the window. I did notice that the window was to the fire escape, so I was a little bit concerned that somebody may have gotten in there, heard us, and then exited. However, I didn't see any dust, disturbed on the window pane or anything like that, and there was cobwebs there, so I thought it was probably not anything more than just the wind pushing this window open. We leave, we go downstairs into the second floor. It was like a big church. It was like 3 floors. Nothing there. That was a bunch of offices. And then as we're approaching the first floor, we're about to go into the chapel area. And as we're about to walk in, the 3rd floor alarm goes off on its own again. So me and James go upstairs. As we turn the corner to get up there, the alarm stops at the exact same spot where we were the first time it stopped. I caught on to it. I was like, that's kind of weird. No big deal. We go up there, we search, everything is secured. There's nothing there. We go downstairs, go back through the 2nd floor, go back into the chapel area, and we're walking, through the pews, and we get to where the stage is. And on either side of the stage are these steps that go down into the bottom area of the basement where the ladies were. And I told James, I'm going to go down the right side. You go down the left side. And he said, all right. So we're going down I go down to the right. And about halfway there, the staircase leveled off and there was a door. I go to open the door, and I swear to you, the doorknob twisted in my hands.
Hell no.
I kicked the door. I almost shot it, to be honest with you. Because, I had my weapon with me, and I'm going with it, and it twists.
Oh my God.
I kick the door. I walk in. It's a single toilet and a sink. And there ain't nobody in there. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So I then turn around and say, all right, maybe I just imagined this. And so I go downstairs. And as I'm walking around down there, I hear what sounds like speakers that are turned on. And in the corner, there were some speakers. So I approached it. And as I approached it, it went shh, and it just stopped. Right. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Nothing's plugged in over here either. And so at that point, James comes down the other side. And I'm like, man, what took you so long? And he's like, I was just about to go down the side. And I heard it sounded like somebody got up and ran through the pews. It sounded like baseball or basketball shoes on a basketball court type of sound. And he's like, I couldn't see anybody. I didn't see anybody. It's dark and I couldn't find anybody. I don't know what it is. Like, dude, you got to check out this door. And so we decide that we're going to go up the stairs again, right? And so we go up the stairs that I went down. And as we're approaching it, he runs up to the door and opens it and yells, who's in here? And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, dude, I heard somebody say they're coming. I swear to you, I heard. He was ahead of me. I didn't hear it, but he says that he heard it. And at that point, I was like, man, this is crazy, man, because the doorknob, I hadn't even told him what happened yet. I was like, this is crazy because the doorknob literally twisted in my hands. And as I'm saying that, the 3rd floor alarm goes off again. And we're like, holy smokes. And I'm laughing.
God.
And James looks at me and tells me, man, are you enjoying this? And I'm like, I think it's kind of neat, I'm sure if I was by myself, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, hell no. Hell no. I'm with S Dubs. Hell to the no, no, no.
So we have to go up there, right? And so we go up there, and the same thing. As soon as we turn the corner on the 3rd floor, alarm turns off. And I'm like, James is like, man, have you noticed that the alarm's turning off right when we turn this corner? And I was like, yeah, I've noticed it a few times. And we start walking through there. And as we're getting to the end of the hall, we hear another officer who had arrived. They had just came up the 3rd floor. And they started yelling, hey, James, Daniel, you all right? And so we came out into the hallway. And we're like, yeah, we're code 4. We're okay. And she goes, we've been calling you guys on the radio for the last 5 minutes. Nobody's responded. And we're like, we haven't heard anybody on our radio. We've just been clearing this building. A lot of things have been happening, but we've been just clearing the building back and forth. We haven't heard anybody, call out. And so at that point, Isabel gets on her radio and goes, I think she was 1607. 1607 100 made contact with 03 and 04, the code 4. And when she said that, we heard it on our radios. Like we could hear it on our radios. And then we heard dispatch come in, code 4, 10-4. And then we heard dispatch on our radios. And me and James look at each other like, man, that's weird. I'm like, well, let's just get out of here. We start walking, and the moment we take about 2 or 3 steps, the alarm starts going off.
I knew you were going to say that. I just got goosebumps. Oh my God.
Well, we stopped moving, and then it would turn off. And then I like waved my hand, and it would go off. It never did that the 3 times that I was there.
I would have freaked out.
You know, we went outside. We told them, hey, and I asked them about the window being unlocked, and she said that was normal because it's an escape. I told them, hey, well, I locked it, so you may want to unlock it when you go inside. She asked if we found anything, and we're like, no, you know, I just might want to call your alarm company. And so we stayed out there probably about 40 minutes, and the alarm went off maybe 3 times while we're out there in the parking lot.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was insane. It was insane. And this was like an old church. And in a part of town that's very old that had a lot of history of supposedly.
Someone just said, did you check
haunted.
the history of the place? Because there might be something with the history.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
creepy.
It was insane. It was an insane night. We you know, me, Isabel and James, we talked about it for a minute outside. Because we're working night shift, 6:30 to 6:30.
Wow.
So 1 o'clock was about mid shift for us. And so we stood out there for a little bit, just kind of amazed by the whole situation. It was crazy.
That's wild.
But yeah, so me being here, I don't know where my dog went, but she's supposed to be my backup.
I was going to say your dog's like, I'm out. I am not sticking around for this ghost story.
She took off. But yeah, I don't know if you have any of those type of stories, little quick one that I just did.
I no, not really. I like whenever I go into like a new space or whatever, I do like the sage and everything. So I don't have any crazy ghost stories. But my dad, before he died, he always played this dime pitch game. And I was like, Dad, when you die, I'm like, do me a favor and like let me know you're around by like giving me dimes. And he was like, all right, if I could figure it out, I'll do it. So then my mom was like, Joe, I got an idea. When you come to me, come on heads, and when Jamie go on tails. And he's like, Marianne, if I could figure out how to come back as a dime, that should be good enough. I was like, Dad, you're so good at games. I was like, I know you'll do it. Daniel, I find dimes on tails all the time, and my mom finds them on heads all the time. It is so bizarre. But other than that, no crazy ghost stories where like I wanted to run out of the house. Thank God.
No, yeah, this one.
But I hear if you have something like that, you're supposed to like just tell them to like, you know, to cross over or whatever. That I don't know, but that's what people say, like to leave, and that they do usually. But I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't go back to the church anymore. You know, there wasn't a church that I.
Well, you're attended there tonight, so.
But here where I'm at tonight, it's been interesting. There you are. Get up here, girl. You're supposed to be protecting my backside.
Yeah, right.
You're sure that the thing attacks me.
She's like, are you done with the ghost story?
I'm done with the ghost stories, Bonnie. I'm done with the ghost stories.
That's so funny.
And so, we'll save the rest for a What the Freak Friday type of show.
Someone was saying during the fall we should do like a Discord where we all tell ghost stories. That would be cool.
That would be cool. You know, I think that I only have a handful, just maybe the one I got from here, the one from the church. And I mean, one time I saw a big bird in the middle of the night, like one of those. So Texas, there's this mythological bird. It's probably a turkey vulture of some sort, but it has like a crazy wingspan, and it's about maybe 5 foot tall, standing. One time I was working night shift, and I could have swore I saw a bird that was just massive bird.
Wow.
But that's about it, you know. I mean, it could have probably been a vulture. I was tired, and my eyes may have been deceiving me. It was also at night, so you know, things could have been distorted as far as my perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
And so those are the only 3 things, but
I'm sure other people have good stories. I would listen to other people's stories.
Oh, for sure. Now, going into today's conversation, we're not 15 minutes into it. Sorry, guys. Please hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to look at the Lance Twiggs interview. I've not seen it. Have you seen it?
No.
So we're just going to watch it, respond. What we're going to be what I want to look for is if there's any like deception, if there's any, markers of truthfulness. Is the story credible? Those type of things. I know there's a lot of controversy behind this case, and so we're not going to get into like the I don't want to say the controversy aspect, but the part that makes people, there's a lot of divide. Exactly.
Yeah. I hear
All right. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. This was presented at Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing.
Do it.
This meeting is to use your statement here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing. Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements. Okay. First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Yes.
So the first thing I noticed is that he's chewing gum. Does that tell you anything?
So that's the first thing I noticed too. If I were his lawyer, I would have asked him to take that out because it's almost like for me a little disrespectful. Even if he's not meaning to be disrespectful, it just, I don't know, it seems a little disrespectful. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's not appropriate in this setting. I think it may also be something to calm his nerves.
Yeah, but I feel like the lawyer should have told him to take it out.
I agree. I agree. And I think they may tell him to. I had fast forwarded one part because I was going to watch it and I got like 2 minutes. I think somebody does.
Oh, good. Because I was going to say, I'd be surprised if somebody doesn't say something.
Yeah.
I also need to notify you that you are notified that statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. You understand that? Yes. It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. In addition, I just want to make sure that our recording here is clear that you've also been given a federal agreement and a state agreement granting you immunity from prosecution for materials you discuss now. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he's given immunity. I found this to be interesting. One of I think the concerns here is how much information or involvement Lance Twiggs may have had, if Tyler Robinson, who's alleged to have committed this crime, in fact, did commit this crime. Again, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. I have not yet seen all the evidence myself to make a determination. I think that is appropriate time during trial. I think that based on the evidence I have seen, that it does appear to be compelling. I'll say that, but I've not seen it all to make a decision. What do you think?
I agree with that, and I'm sure you remember, but back in the very beginning, we did like 2 lives on this topic. So there was, from what I remember from that, there was a lot of compelling evidence. However, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. As far as the immunity goes, on one hand, I would think that when you get offered immunity, you're more likely to then be honest about whatever it is that went on. But then on the other hand, you could say what you think they want you to say because you got immunity, but I don't know enough about him to know which way that's going. So I don't know if he's going to be honest because of it or try to get himself out of trouble. But isn't there, like you said, Discord and stuff? So isn't there like messages that we'll hear?
There is, and
give us some information.
There is, and from what I also understand is that some things got redacted. Right. So I don't think we're going to hear everything that's in this interview, but I think it's interesting that it is the immunity aspect, because if you didn't do anything wrong, if you truly, was this person who had no idea that Tyler Robinson committed this crime, what would you need the immunity for? And again, maybe the argument would be is the after part, because, Tyler goes and commits this crime, admits to it to Twiggs, who then doesn't notify law enforcement. Is that the immunity that he's hoping to garnish? Because if it's not that, and if it's immunity from possible involvement in this, I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky line. What do you think?
I didn't realize that when it comes to immunity, I think I assumed that immunity meant immunity, like from everything. I think that it's important for people like me that aren't in law enforcement to know that that's not the case, right? So you can have immunity on, I guess this is a question, is what I'm asking. Like, you can have immunity on a bank robbery, for example, but not, I don't know, like the aftermath or hiding of it. I don't know. Like, for me, I assumed immunity just meant he's immune from anything that has to do with this. So maybe explain that a little bit.
It would be, immunity in his involvement in the case. However, what is he trying to avoid, by having this immunity, right? Is it his involvement? Is it just solely the part of, the aspect of it being that he was told some things and didn't come forward right away? Failure to report a crime type of situation.
Yeah, if they were having back and forth conversations, that would be an issue. And how long did it go on for? Was it for days? Because if it's days, then you could say the person had plenty of time.
What it also could be? I just thought about this. It could be because law enforcement will do some things, right? Where they'll say, hey, you were involved with this person. This person talked to you. This person told you things. You didn't report it. We're going to charge you as accessory.
That's what I would think.
And then, because they came at him so hard to talk, they had to offer him immunity, even though he may not. But, because they want to keep up the show. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally get what you're saying. But that's what I would think. If there's, conversations where he knows or alleged knows what's going on and doesn't say anything, absolutely. I could so see them saying, you either have to talk but isn't this still the preliminary?
This is the preliminary. Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm not familiar 100% with the courts and stuff. That's more on the lawyer side of things.
Yeah.
A preliminary hearing, from what I understand, is just to determine whether or not there's enough proof to show there's evidence to go forward with trial.
Yes, and I know that just from watching other things that the burden of proof is different with this. So like you don't have to, it's not, wait, how did he say it? The lawyer next door, the lawyer, or whatever. I like that guy. Yeah. But he was saying, like, I hear it, like he'll always explain the law. And he says that with a preliminary hearing, if I remember correctly, that the burden is less. So where like in a trial, you couldn't do things like hearsay, for example. I always think of Chloe teaching us about hearsay. So like you couldn't do that in a trial, and there's a higher burden there. Where here the burden's lower, they just have to meet so many things, and they can do things like hearsay and the judge is the one that decides. So I do think that that's important too, because the burden's a little bit lower here. It's not a burden of foolproof or whatever they say, but it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just that, a crime has been committed and that person is likely someone that may have done it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, it's not the burden is very low. It's like an indictment. And the saying is you can indict and
that's it.
But to put all this information out there, to go to this extent, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess every state is different. But I felt like, getting a grand jury indictment would have been pretty easy without having, spend the cost of doing all this. But to each is their own. Maybe this is just the way Utah does things. Let's continue.
First, we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
This is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay. And
will you describe your relationship with Tyler
when you first met him anyway?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate. So I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first, when he first moved in.
Okay. Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on? Your microphone?
No,
Okay. I'm going to repeat those admonitions just to make sure we got recorded. Okay, so again, I placed you under oath.
So while he's redoing that, he noticed something. He's just going to redo it. But does he come off to you as credible at this point?
well, so far he does, but I think I'm more or less like looking at his baseline right now because I don't feel like there's really any questions yet that are, that would, incriminate him in any way, even if he does have immunity. So I feel like these are very, basic questions, like when was the first time you met this person? So I'm curious to see if his demeanor changes later on in the interview.
What about his tone and stuff? Very serious, monotone, straightforward.
So far, he looks like he's referencing his lawyer right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something he does throughout or if it's just because he asked about, the microphones and stuff. But that's interesting because it's almost like that to me would say that something, that you've practiced this or whatever, because you're referencing over at the lawyer to see if you're saying the right thing or whatever. So that would be weird, but I don't know what the context is here. So I really don't know.
What about the fact that he's doing it this way and not in person?
That's interesting. That could have just been a matter of convenience. I don't know where they live. So, that could have just been, maybe they couldn't, it was inconvenient to get everybody together. I feel like things are done online a lot anymore. So I don't see that as weird as maybe I would have years ago.
Yeah. Now let's continue. See where they're at.
Yeah.
So
I think this one's mic is on.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you know what? I'll mute my mic.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we should be good. All right. Is that mic on?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, sorry about that interruption. All right. So you said when you first met, you were roommates?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
I think we started dating 2 or 3 months after he moved in.
Okay. And where did you live at that time?
St. George, in an apartment complex.
And is that apartment the same place you lived when on September 10th?
Yes.
When you lived there with Tyler, were you in the same room? Did you live in the same room or different rooms?
No, separate rooms.
And at that time, let's say September of 2025, what were you doing with your life? Were you working, school?
I was working. I was doing bathtub and shower repair and stuff in new construction.
Okay. How about Tyler?
I think he was both working. I think he was working for an electrician company then, and he was also in a trade school for being a, I don't know, higher ranking electrician. I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical work day like?
I think he'd leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during school, semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. So yeah.
Okay. let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Into September 10th. Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
So he says he had heard him leaving, and then he says that he had said something, that he had to be there early. So it kind of a little bit of a contradiction there, like, kind of sounding like initially that he just heard him walking out and that's what woke him up. But it also sounds like there was a conversation. What do you think?
I also want to know what his perception of early is and stuff, and is it different than usual? So I don't know if it's a contradiction or if it's a misperception. So I'm curious.
Well, he said about 4 a.m. and what he said was that
he said it might have been 5, but it was probably more like 4.
Right. But the part that I found intriguing is that he says, I heard him leaving. And then he goes in to say what he told him. So those are kind of different, right?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? I heard him leaving sounds like, I heard the door close and I noticed that it was this time and I saw his vehicle take off. Then he goes in, he goes into saying, well, he said he had to do something. And then that sounds different. It sounds like two different things.
I mean, unless the only thing I could think of if I was trying to play the devil's advocate would be that he woke, that him leaving is what woke him up, and then they had a conversation after that. But I totally see what you're saying. That would totally be two different things.
Yeah, it seems like it. I'll back it up a little bit and listen to
I didn't even catch that.
Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
And so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna spit out his gum just to make sure that
I can do that.
You're right in front of your laptop.
Here you go.
Thank you.
So they're in the same place. I didn't realize they were across from each other. I thought they were.
Oh, I see.
I thought they were in different parts of the world.
So did I.
But they're not. They're in the same place. It's like, oh, let me give you this tissue, and then it pops out of the camera.
Well, wait. I wish they would have asked. How did you know it was more like 4 a.m.? Why did he say that?
Yeah. Why would he have thought it was more like 4 a.m.?
Yeah, right. Why didn't he say, well, why did you think it was more like 4 or not 5? Because he says in normal work days around 5 a.m., but this must have been about 4 a.m. Well, why?
I agree.
Why did he think that?
I agree. I think there's some, I don't know. We'll see. Let me rewind a little bit. No, you know what? We'll go forward from here because they're just handing off the tissue. I do want to rewind a little bit because I want to hear exactly what he said.
Apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th.
Into September 10th. Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time.
Did you notice that hesitation? He's like, was he there the night? And he's like, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He definitely hesitates. I mean, he could just be trying to remember. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. He might be nervous too. You know what I mean? So I'll try to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there. I'm more curious again to see a little bit later on in the interview if his demeanor is the same, how it differs from now. If it differs.
I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
And so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna spell his gum just to make sure that
I can do that.
you're right in front of your laptop.
Here you go.
Thank you.
That's up to you.
Thank you.
All right, so what time did you get up on September 10th?
Probably like 12 to 1 p.m.
You didn't have to work that day.
No.
And did you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
Okay, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
This is redacted. I guess what was in the text message is we're not privileged to see.
Right.
I don't know how long it stays redacted. Oh, gosh.
Oh, wow. I wonder if we'll ever get to hear what's redacted.
Maybe once it goes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, this is a huge part.
Wow.
Okay.
Did he look different to you?
He looks like, see, I don't know. I don't know. Does he look traumatized? I'm not sure. We're
Looks
seeing
sad.
that other layer in the back. Yeah, sad, like traumatized. Right. Yeah, I'm dying to know what they were just talking about.
I do too, because I think it may have, whatever it was had an effect on him based on
For sure.
2020. You see, look at his forehead, look at his eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a
He looks
significant
matter of
difference.
fact there, and over here he looks traumatized. Like he just recalled something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks sad.
There's a difference there.
Okay.
Again, I've not seen any of this part. But I'm just like looking at this guy's facial expression, and it's not the same.
Right.
Almost like he may have, like you said said something that was a little bit too much. Maybe that's why it was redacted. Maybe he said something he didn't mean to say about himself.
That would be interesting.
And again, that's just speculation on my part. I'm not, saying that that's the case, but definitely seems like a difference in facial expression.
So again, those messages covered from September 10th to the evening of September 11th. Now, September 11th, what time did you see Tyler on September 11th?
Yes.
When did you first see him on September 11th? So this is the day after the shooting.
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house. And then I think I saw him after that message where I said I'll come home and say I'm doing laundry, because I didn't want him going to my parents' house right then when he said there was probably cops outside. So I went back home, and it was just him there, and I said bye to him, and then he drove off. So I just went back to my parents' house.
More interesting. This one doesn't seem as long of a reaction. Now, so according to what we, I think, know at this point, he being Tyler Robinson, had already confessed to Lance about doing the crime. He did, I think, that day in text messages and on Discord. You don't think there's more of a conversation there than what he's describing, or should have been there?
Well, hopefully we hear some of it, so we'll know. But I mean, I'm going to try to, what I usually try to do psychologically is put myself in that person's shoes. So, I mean, I'm sure, I'm not sure. I mean, who knows? Did they ever talk about this stuff before? Like, was he completely taken back from this? Is this something where like it's that friend that you're like, oh my gosh, like I definitely see it, or is like, so like I don't know how this may have affected him in that moment. And I mean, could he have just been reacting as somebody who's traumatized? Or so I'm interested to see what is in these messages.
I am too. And I think they're going to go through some of them here in a little bit. But I think I think before they found out that it was Tyler, it sounded like the text messages weren't ones of somber or sorrow for Charlie Kirk's passing.
I guess we'll see. I don't know.
You know, and so I believe that's what was out there. But
It is. Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, they were talking about it, but they weren't talking about it like, oh my God, you know, this is sad or anything like that. And then I believe, and I could be wrong, I probably should pull them up and listen to them first. Because I think he ends up confessing to it. And I don't know, maybe there is some shock there. I'm sure there is.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, imagine if you're, you know, this is his roommate and he doesn't know him that well, but he knows him well enough that he's living with him. So I guess they like had a friendship of some sort. So
they're dating.
Oh.
You didn't hear that?
That's right. No, Daniel, I remember that from the beginning. Oh yeah.
They're in a relationship. How does that change? Like, I mean, I'm a little bit, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a little bit skeptical that if Tyler Robinson did commit this crime, that Lance wasn't aware of it beforehand. That's just my speculation. That's just my thought process.
I think that would be easy for us to decipher though once we hear any of the messages. Like I feel like you would respond differently, like if you know something as opposed to if you didn't know it. So I would hope that we would be able to tell a little bit from those messages if he knew or not.
And then if your significant other that you've been living with admits to committing a violent crime, and the first time you see them what do you think? What would you do? Do you think you would console them?
I think I would be too afraid to be around them, because at that point, if I knew that they already did something this horrific, like what would make me think that like, and especially if it's not something that I ever pictured them to be able to do. So if I didn't picture them able to do that, then how do I know that they wouldn't do it to me? Like I would be fearful of my own safety. So I would probably, I would think that I would, although I don't know, I'm thinking about my husband and he doesn't seem scary to me. So if he did, but then again, I would think like he wouldn't do that to somebody else. So if he did, then do I really know him as well as I think I do? So there's that too. What do you think?
Well, there's always, love is blind, right? And that's one of the things that I say. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that love is blind in the sense where, you're going to fall in love with somebody that doesn't matter what they look like. It's more a sense of that things are going to happen right in front of you, and you're not going to see them because you're in love with the person.
That too.
And there are.
How do you not say it?
Right, but there's also like a lot of denial that I think would have been put in place, especially right away. Like, come on, that wasn't you. That really wasn't you. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there would have been more of a conversation here and then. Oh, hey, how's it going? All right, you're just keeping yourself busy. All right, I'm leaving. Bye.
So I also think of this too, right? Coming from an Italian family in Philadelphia. I'm putting myself in other situations, and I can see a situation where somebody is with somebody that's dangerous, but never fears that danger is going to come to them. So that is a real thing. I mean, it happens all the time. So, I mean, there's plenty of violent people out there where their spouse knows of them as a violent person. So I think it's going to be more interesting for me to see what does he know of about this guy. Like, was he, like you said, was it love is blind, or is it like, did he know that this was his personality type? So I'm going to be curious to see that too.
Yeah. True story. Now let's continue this.
Reacted erratically. Was he pacing? Was he just sitting down, relaxing?
No, he was walking around a lot.
Okay, and that's within the home.
Mm-hmm.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it. and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
What do you think about that? You know, if this guy commits this crime, flees, goes back. I mean, is this what do you think about the response if he's being genuine that he wished he hadn't done it, was crying and things of that nature? What does that tell you about Tyler Robinson if again, this is all real?
So you mean like how he says, how he kind of like humanizes, blah, 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 blah. He's not dehumanizing him. So he's humanizing him by saying he cried. That would humanize somebody, right? It makes them not look like such a monster that went out there and did this horrible thing. He also made it seem like, you know, if he's crying, then he must have regret of some sort. He said he wished that he didn't do this, right? So, and the walking around and all those things, he's probably distracting himself, wishing he hadn't done it. But I don't think that we could say that this means Lance excuses the crime, but I do think that it introduces cognitive dissonance, which is where you can have two conflicting beliefs at the same time. So in one sense, I'm sure he doesn't want to see the person, because you also have to remember, like, he chose to be with this person. So then to find out that this person goes ahead and does something like this, that in itself must, like you said, he must have a little bit of denial right there. So with cognitive dissonance, you could have two things. It can make him, you know, still feel like Tyler was human, and at the same time, he still did this horrible act. So two things could be true at the same time, and they could be, you know, opposing thoughts. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. And I think he's also maybe trying to aid Tyler in a sense by saying that he was remorseful.
Minimizing it, for sure.
100%.
Okay. Did he talk about what he was going to do next?
They redacted what he was going to do next.
And then eventually said that he would talk to his parents or turn himself over.
Okay. And when you left, was that how you left understanding that he was going to turn himself in or go to his parents' house?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be at our apartment while any of that was happening, regardless of what went down.
Okay. Okay. Before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat, but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
What do you think about that? You know, a person admits to doing this crime that's close to him. He doesn't really look into it. What does that tell you?
It tells me that you don't want to believe that the person that you care about is capable of doing this. It's like, you know, classic denial. By not looking at it, I don't have to see it yet.
Yeah, 100%. Great perspective on that.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images. Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is some press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images. Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans. So it definitely, especially the bottom, the last, look like him.
So there was something there redacted about the bottom half of them.
Oh, they do look like Tyler Robinson.
And you talked about that with your friends, right?
Yeah, his friends. Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if I talked about it with any of my friends. And then since I didn't have my phone after that for a while, and I still am not using social media, I don't know on my friends' end.
Okay.
Anything stick out to you, Dr. Vona, about what he's saying or his credibility, etc.?
For me, so far, he just seems like, I mean, now that I don't know why I totally forgot that they were dating. That like adds a whole nother layer for me. So this almost feels for me, and like if you look at his face right there, I feel like you could see it on his face. Like, you know, I want people to try to imagine that you're dating somebody that you think is an ordinary person, ordinary just meaning like that they're the average person, right? And then within the moment of a night you find, or hours or whatever, you find out that this person might have committed one of, a national significantly horrific homicide. That's gonna be hard for your brain to accept. And in some cases, I mean, some people might move to a place of acceptance because they love that person. But it doesn't always mean that the person knew about it or that they had a part in it. But again, I'm trying to put myself, because in the beginning I was reacting as if I would react to this. But then I had to put myself, like I said, I'm an Italian from Philadelphia. Like, I know plenty of other situations. And there's plenty of people that feel that cognitive dissonance where you have those two competing thoughts. And I feel like so far for me, it seems like he's sad, or that, I don't know if you want to call that remorseful, but I do see emotion. And I actually want people to keep in mind, because this is what I'm going to be keeping in mind now that I know this. My question for all of us to think is, why did Tyler choose Lance? Like, if they were together, then there was an attachment of some sort. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know. I feel like Lance looks, I see emotion on him. Like, so far I see him as credible, in my opinion.
When he brought up the fact that he was going to bring up some images, he grabbed his water and kind of did this with it. And it seemed like he was going to get very nervous about what he was about to see.
So, okay, but like I was saying before, right? So by seeing the pictures and by saying that that's him, now you've identified this person in the pictures. It seems like to me that he was hesitant to do that. And like I was saying before, if I don't see it, I don't have to acknowledge it. So not only are they asking him to acknowledge it, but they're showing him pictures and saying, do you recognize him in these pictures? And it doesn't seem like he's like, oh yeah, for sure, that's him. Like, but at the same time, he wasn't like, nah, that's not him. So he seems again like conflicted, where he knows in his heart, because he says, well, in the last two, that definitely looks like him because of the shoes and the glasses. He's like, I've never seen that hat, but he was known to wear hats. So like, it seems like he knows that he's looking at a picture of something that looks familiar to him. So in one sense, and especially if you get immunity, you have to tell the truth. So he has to say that, one thing, but on the other hand, his brain probably doesn't want to believe it either. And he probably doesn't want to feel like he's the one that's saying like, yeah, that's Daniel. You know what I mean? Like that has to be hard for anyone to point that person out, knowing that it's probably your loved one. I'm sure he knows that's him in the pictures.
I agree. And you're right. I think it's a big part of him not wanting to see it, not wanting to hear it, not wanting to believe it. How do you think he's going to handle it in trial? Actually being in the courtroom, Tyler being across from him. I don't know if they've communicated since. They haven't. How do you think he's going to handle that, given he's doing this by camera? I think that may play a role into this. Play a role while he's on camera.
I think it depends. I don't know what their attachment was with each other, or things like that. But I would assume that regardless, that has to be hard. Especially like, if they were dating, there must have been an attraction of some sort there. So I'm sure on one hand, he probably wishes that this isn't him. He's probably hoping that, there's evidence that this isn't him in some way. But then there's probably another part of him that says, but that looks like him. They were the conversations we had, so on and so forth. So I think either way, this is just a hard thing for him to be in situation. But I would also be a little bit mad that, somebody put me in that situation to begin with.
That's true. That's very true. I agree with you.
Especially like with all like the text messages and stuff. Like you had to know that if you were going to get caught, that these text messages would get seen.
I agree. You know, I think he was aware that they were going to come knocking. He didn't want to be there. He said he was going to laugh. And so, yeah, interesting.
All right, I want to back up a little bit now. We've talked about September 10th, but let me get a little bit of context here. So, did you game with Tyler?
Yeah.
What kind of games?
We played some just kind of party games together, like anything that would be multiplayer with a group of friends. There was one game he really liked called Sea of Thieves, where you play as like a pirate, and you can fight against people, but most of it's just like fishing, fighting sharks, skeletons, kind of stuff. We played some co-op games where it's like you both have to work together to win in whatever way. Way back when I was just out of high school, when I first knew him online, we played some like shooting games together, but I didn't know him very well, so that was just when we had like a whole friend group on to play, and he was someone that my friends invited.
Okay. Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in like their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay.
So a couple things. He may have been political, but not with Lance, not very often. Sounds like there was times that he did talk about politics. Charlie Kirk, he doesn't ever remember him bringing him up. How does that play a role in what he did in your mind? You know, if this is true, like this guy didn't talk about this person that he ends up taking the life of to the person that he's dating, possibly loves. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I think it's interesting that you paused it. If you look at him here, his mouth is like, and I know that you can't say all the time that that's like a sign of deception of some sort. But my thing is this. There's a lot of families in the United States where there's one party that's more political than the other and things like that. And even if you don't keep up with politics or whatever it is, sports, let's just say sports, right? Like, you might not keep up with sports, but I feel like you still know the names of the people on the team. So I'm not saying that he's lying. And again, this is just my opinion, but my thing is, if they really have that much of an attachment, and if this was a political, like something that meant something to Tyler, I can't imagine that it never came up. Could it be that Lance is so not into politics that he might have heard the name before and just never and didn't remember type thing? Possibly, but I don't know that I believe that it was never brought up.
Well, those text messages, I'd like to read them.
Yeah, I want to read them.
Because if there's messages before or while they find out about this, and he is fully versed in who Charlie Kirk is or is saying things about it, I'm going to say that there's going to be some contradictions here. Now, I haven't heard or seen the text messages yet, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and again, this is just my opinion. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying, I just don't know. It just seems like a really big... I mean, for him to then, if he is this person that did this, so let me just say that, if he is the person that did this, I mean, you don't just go out there and pick, I mean, some people do, but to me, there was like a reason that he did this. So I feel like even if he didn't know his name, I'm sure the topics that made him upset might have came up. Maybe that's what I should have said. So, and maybe it could just be that he doesn't remember that name specifically, but so I'm curious to see if they ask if any of the topics that were important to Charlie Kirk were brought up as opposed to his particular name.
It's possible. It's possible. Let's see. If you don't mind sending me those Discords, that'd be great. That way I can see him.
Oh yeah.
Let's continue.
Could you put a link in the chat? She's the best.
How about political issues? So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current like policies being like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
All right, so interesting. He's asked about gender and things of that nature, but he answers a different question going back to the politics stuff as if it's still on his mind.
100%. That's why I put my hands up like, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that because I hadn't seen this. And I literally said, I'm interested to see if he asked about how those topics came up. Can you rewind that part? I just want to hear that again. Like, I just want to see how he reacted again, because I totally agree with you. I feel like he like evaded that question. But maybe I
mean, I think maybe perhaps there's also the part of like him answering that other question still like kind of feels like he wasn't being truthful about the political conversations that maybe.
Well, he brings it back up and it was like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So like you said, it's still in his mind.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Specifically.
Okay. How about political issues? So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current like policies being like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
So he says not really. He doesn't say no.
It's true.
And then he goes right from that to back to the politics thing. I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I'm glad that you played that back, because normally in that situation when he asked that question, the answer would be.
Right, so before that you happened.
For a short.
So what was that?
I said normally the answer to that would have just been no. Not really. And when the political stuff that he did talk about, that like he went off on that whole thing, and then it, like for me felt like he was evading the question kind of, or felt uncomfortable with the question.
I agree. I agree that it felt like he was uncomfortable with the question. And I mean, him to go back to it, I think to me kind of seemed like maybe perhaps there was a, oh gosh, what's what I'm looking for? I guess he felt like he needed to answer more of the question. You know what I mean?
Right. That's how I felt. Interesting.
And then I'm getting all the, I got them all. Thank you, Cuffy, for putting that into the Discord. I'm trying to get them all saved on my computer. There we go. All right, let's continue. Let's go back a little bit because he said something interesting.
Okay, so before that you had been.
For a short time, yes.
So before that you had been, and he said, yeah, for a short time, yes.
Had been what?
I wonder what that was.
Oh, we don't know because it was redacted. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was redacted. These are the text messages. You want to read through them real quick so that way we can kind of get an idea of what's going on. So this is from Tyler. It says, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orium for a little while longer, yet shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am, I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Wrong way. That's Married to the Hobby, guys. Go check out my other channel. Let's see. 7:05 p.m. I think is what it says. that still works for you. Yep. Now, which one? Let me go back real quick. So this is from Twiggs's phone. He's on the right. Tyler's on the left. So he's telling him 7 p.m. still work for you. He says, yes, I love you. I love you too. Hope work's going well. I love you so much. I love you more. Drop what you were doing. Look under my keyboard. What? You're joking, right? I tried to delete that. So I guess this is earlier in the day. At 4:33 p.m. 11 p.m. is when he sends that. We'll go back to this first image. Does it say a time? It does not.
That's interesting.
Oh, and then this is when this comes in. So I guess this is just a duplicate. My mistake, guys. Then this comes in where where he comes in saying, I'm okay. And he says, what? You aren't the one who did it, right?
Wow.
Like, if he wasn't following it like he claims he was, why would he automatically assume that that's what he's talking about? And it's crazy that Tyler is also automatically assuming they're talking about the same thing.
Well, he said, I'm sorry to have involved you.
Right, but like, if you had no idea who Charlie Kirk was, you weren't aware of the shooting or any of those things, or even if you were slightly aware of the shooting, why are you jumping to that conclusion that quick?
Well, I don't know if you remember, though, back when this happened, it was like national news right away. So it could be that, he see, but it also, I would like to see the page right before this.
It's this one.
That's right before it?
Yeah, I love you, love you so much. Then he goes, drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard.
I wonder what was under the keyboard.
What? You're joking, right? I tried to delete that.
Oh, that tells me that something with the keyboard, under the keyboard he saw made him know.
Now, it does seem like there's something that's not there that's in between them.
Right.
Because I'm still okay, love, but I'm stuck in worrying for a little bit while longer. Shouldn't be long until I can come home. I got to grab my rifle still. Like, wouldn't you be like, what do you mean your rifle? Why do you have your rifle? Instead, it's, what, you aren't the one who did this, right?
That would suggest to me that he's obviously not shocked, right? Because, like you said, he would be like, what are you talking about? Like, did what? But that's interesting. I don't know what we're not seeing, though. Like, is that the first that they talked about it? Like, did they talk on the phone? So I have so many questions. Because if this is the first that they talked about it and there's nothing else before this, like if the stuff before this is like, did you stop at the Acme type thing and then it just jumps to this, well, then absolutely, like he clearly has to know more to just be like, oh, you're not the one that did this. Like, why would you even assume that I did this if you didn't know that it's possible that I did this? Or unless he told him that he did it.
Yeah, and YouTube Bad Actor says under the keyboard was a note that told what he was doing.
Then there you go. That makes sense. Do we know what the note said?
I'm not sure yet.
So then
I remember briefly what it may say, but I don't remember.
Well, then that makes sense. So if he says look under the keyboard and then he looks under the keyboard and finds a note that gives him like, an idea of what's happening, I could see why he would be like, wait, you're not the one that did this, right? Because he probably then turned on the news and he probably saw, because at that time they did but they detained somebody. It was the wrong person. They realized, like he said, it was an old guy or whatever. So it seems to me like he saw whatever was under the desk, looked on the news to sees that they had another guy in custody and was like, what are you talking about? Like, did you do this? I thought they had somebody else that did this.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I got a sense of staging in this. Like, this is like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of, doesn't seem right.
I wonder if we're going to see anything else in that video.
Maybe. let's see. I don't want to call chance while they're parked there. If they found it, I imagine they would have been more commotion. Again, I'm sorry for roping you into all this. You shouldn't have to worry about this. And it just kind of seems like they're going to a certain. He's going to a certain extent to show that, because I know he's probably aware that they're probably going to find the rifle. They're going to trace it back to him, check his phone, and he's trying to make it seem very much so that Lance wasn't involved.
Yeah.
You know, like purposefully putting that out there a lot. Lance wasn't involved. It's interesting.
It's so interesting. And I'm trying to like imagine myself being Lance in the situation. He probably is in shock. I mean, he probably doesn't even know what to say.
What about this? He asks him, Lance asks, does anyone else know? And his response is, not to my knowledge.
So that would say to me that he just means like in other words, not that I know of, but like there could be a video of me, there could have been. So I think that's how I take that.
He goes on to say it's going to be real effing annoying if I can't get to this thing till like 3, then have to drive back and still go into work. So, you know, he's just concerned about how annoying it's going to be for him to wait around and still have to go to work. Does this sound like the crying guy that said he wished he hadn't done it?
I was just going to say that does not make it sound very remorseful, because he's bitching about having to wait around and then still have to go to work tomorrow. I don't like that at all.
Goes on, this Twiggs says, I think it says, you're not sure they aren't waiting to see if anyone comes to collect the gun. That's what he said. Because I've gotten close enough that they would have jumped me if they were waiting, and they would probably be more concerned with pulling prints off of it. It's true. Needless to say, I'm be late coming home. Just stay safe. I will. I'm more worried about what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. It's far scarier than any Fed NGO. I'm not sure what that means. You know what NGO means? Not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
Guess I'm sitting in my car watching reels for another hour until this guy F's off. He's just sitting in his car watching reels.
Wow. And he's more afraid of his dad and him not bringing the rifle back than he is about the feds.
That's true.
That's interesting.
And it says, are you something? I can't make that up. He goes, yes, checking.
Are you okay still?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Are you okay still? Yes, checking spot again. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this guy seems very well informed about what he's doing and what he did.
I almost like these make me feel bad for the Lance guy. I think I'm right on when I said from the very beginning that we all should be thinking, why did Tyler choose Lance?
Interesting point. So he goes on to say, they're checking the spot again. I'll update soon. The squad car was moved further away enough that I should be able to move in. Backed off because I thought I heard footsteps, maybe the foot patrol, but their crickets here are also effing loud. Gonna see if the road closure to campus is open so I can drive past and check things out. Probably still closed off though. Getting worried, hard to know for sure, but I'm not finding my rifle. Could be in the wrong spot. You think they found it? Don't know. They haven't published anything. If they have, what do you think that says?
It says, here, go out a little bit, like back. Yeah, like that. It says
something. What did you?
I don't know. Is there another page of text that might have it?
No, it don't look like it.
Does anybody in chat know what it said?
see. It says, remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing message.
What?
The effing messages are mostly a
Big meme.
big meme. You know, I mean, he's putting everything out there. Like, hey, I did it. Here's my gun. I wrote the message on the ammunition.
And wait, what does he say there? If I see
It says
Justice Bulge, whatever, on Fox News, I might have a stroke. So in other words, he's saying, like, if he sees that, almost says to me, Daniel, that like it's almost like a pride thing, right? Like if I see this on Fox News, like it reminds me of Mackenzie Shrillo almost, like, oh my God, I'm on Fox News. Like I'm getting like, you know, I'm not getting like that he means like, oh my God, if I see that, I'm gonna die. I see that more like, because he said, remember, I was engraving the bullets.
I was gonna say, yeah, he says, remember how I was engraving the bullets with these things? What do you think?
So it's almost like if Fox News puts it out there, it's like my message made it, is how I take it.
Well, yeah, but what about the fact that Lance saw him engraving bullets?
Okay, this is the thing. I thought about this for a second, like as we were thinking, and I'm like, okay, but this is my thing. Does he really know this person? So is this an artistic person? Is this a person that, you know, does other things that, I don't know, because you could say on one hand that that's one thing. For me, if I ever see somebody engraving a bullet, that is going to be a red flag. That's like a boulder. That's not even a red flag. That's like a red boulder. Like if anybody's out there and somebody's engraving bullets, that is a red flag in my opinion. However, you could, you know, chalk it off to somebody being artistic or something, but I would say read what's on the bullets. And if the message on the bullets are something tied to something emotional, well, then that's even more of a red flag to me, because now it just says to me that why else, what does a bullet mean? Like, what is the significance of a bullet, right? It's to shoot someone or death, right? So to me, like the significance of the bullet says one thing, and then putting a message on it, I mean, that's huge for me. And I almost feel like I'm getting pride here and not regret.
I 100% agree with you on that one. And what he was putting on there was like these furry and messages that were on there that go along with that community. So think about notices bulge, and then you know, these are things that I think that Lance was aware of. You know, he was aware of these memes and stuff. But he puts it out there like in a whole confession type thing. It's pretty crazy.
So crazy.
It says, all right, just I'm gonna have to leave it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to
effing miracle.
That effing
my old
sucks.
man.
That's right.
Yeah, effing sucks. My old man. Something. I mean, he's talking about more concerned about his father and the gun. Doesn't shoot all the guns often. I'll act like I have it for a year or so, and then act confused when he asks for it. I say I left it with him.
So in other words, he's going to blame his dad in a couple years. So this says a lot to me. One, it says to me that he thinks he's getting away with it. Two, right? Because he says in a year or two, I'm just going to make it look like I left it with him and he lost it, which is, to me, again, you guys, if you're with somebody out there, with whatever somebody will do with you, they'll do to you. So if somebody's telling you their plan that they'll just pretend like it's been lost for 2 years, or that they and then be like, oh, wait, what are you talking about? I left it with you. Like, if they even have the capacity to think like that, and then what, he's going to then blame losing the gun on his dad? Like, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's like an angry thing, right? It's almost like, oh, that, I mean, I don't know this yet because I don't know enough, but I'm getting a lot. And
then what about this question? Lance asks him, do you use it for hunting? After all of this and everything going on, and Charlie Kirk has been assassinated, he's worried, he's concerned, he's asking him, do you use your gun for hunting as well?
So, you know how I took this, so Daniel, I'm thinking of this psychologically, and it could just be that here he doesn't realize that Tyler has the capacity to do something like this. So I think he's just, if you read the thing before it, right before it, he says that I'll say that I left it with him at a camp out, some likely excuse. And I think he's just saying like, well, do you use it for hunting? Like, I think I really don't even know that Lance is grasping what's happening. I could be wrong, but I mean, like, in other words, he's saying that he's going to blame it on the dad. And I think Lance is saying like, well, do you guys even use it for hunting? Like, in other words, is he going to believe you? Right. That's how I took it.
He goes on to say, no, my dad wanted to use a higher caliber for the rifle hunt. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. Doesn't sound like remorse. Doesn't sound like he
Not
wish he
at
hadn't done
all.
it. And I mean, he's saying this to Lance. I mean,
Wait, does Lance say good?
it does.
So again, all right. So for me, and again, I'm still trying to play devil's advocate here. I feel like this is somebody who has an attachment. He gets love from this person, right? They said to each other, and I mean, attachment's a big thing that I always go back to, an identity. So I see attachment and identity stuff here. For me, we don't know exactly yet what we're going to see here, but it does say that there's a pattern here of someone that's navigating loyalty and love, while also realizing or recognizing the seriousness of this alleged offense.
Just so.
You know, that's sad.
He goes, drive home 3.5 hours. Driving sucks. Delete this exchange, and I can't read what that says.
Do we know how soon this, like when this interview is from? Like, I know we're hearing it now, but do we know if this was like right after the crime, or was this like recently, the interview that we were watching?
I think it's recently, because I think it's more to do with the preliminary hearing.
So this is recent. Do we know if he spoke to police back then? And if so, like, will we hear that, do you think?
Come trial, possibly.
That would be interesting to see if there's differences.
I think that if there is differences in what he's saying, then the defense will bring it up.
Yeah, I also think that it's important for people to understand what acute trauma is. And after learning of something like this, I mean, this would be assuming, right, that Lance is not the type of person that would do something like this, right? So assuming that this was a traumatic event for him, we often see with acute trauma responses fragmented recall. So it wouldn't be abnormal for the recall to be fragmented in a way that, you know, if there were two different interviews, that I think it would be weirder for me if they had the exact same, like if his story was the exact same both times, because fragmented recall is something we see more often. Even things like uncertainty, emotional flattening, which is what I see a lot here too. I don't see him like, as far as like tearing up or crying or anything. So not like that, more flattening, like where I don't feel like we can always tell right off. I feel like with my facial expressions, for example, you could tell if I'm like, what the, or if I'm like, what? Like, I feel like you could tell my emotion. You're not getting that same thing from him, in my opinion. It's a little bit more flat. However, I still see the emotion under it. I could still, you know, I still feel like I could feel what it is that's going on here. He also attempts to reconstruct the events like as they happen, which could just be the way that they're interviewing him. But we see a lot of these characteristics here, and I think that it's important just to remember that these are the same characteristics that we see with acute trauma response. That's all. Yeah. So like, I feel like this is more consistent with somebody that's processing trauma rather than rehearsing a narrative. It isn't proof of truthfulness, right? But it's a pattern that I'm recognizing.
And you're possibly right there. You know, I'm skeptical with that.
Sure.
That's where I'm at on this one. Yellow Rose comes in
we
saying,
work so well together, right? Like we both come from different angles, and we come from the same, like we have the same overall thing, but we bring it in different angles. So I think that that's good that you're more skeptical than I am.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical on things, just because, you know, it comes out talking about this, and I don't know. It's just, yeah, he confesses. Tyler basically confesses to Lance, and his response is different.
Well, you also have to remember too, right? Like, let's say he feels like he's the star witness here, right? So, and I don't know what his love life was like before this. It could, I mean, what if Tyler made him feel so loved and like, you know, somebody really cared and all this other stuff. And he said that he first met him when I was listening. He said that he first met him right after high school. So that, I don't know how old they are now, but do we know how old they are?
Yeah, I think they're closer to like 28, 30.
So then they've known each other for a significant amount of time. If you're 28 and you've known each other since, I mean, you're talking maybe a 30-year life here with this person now. Maybe not with them that way, but with them as far as even friendship. So there has to be some form of bond there. And I don't know. I mean, to him, it could be that if he doesn't say too much, or if he doesn't say, yeah, that's him, what if there's a possibility that Tyler gets off and then we can like ride off into the sunset? I mean, there'd be another part of that would also be dysfunctional because I mean, for all the obvious reasons, but it could, I mean, could he be thinking, and I don't know this to be true, but could it be somewhere, even if it's not in his conscious awareness, that by him saying, yes, that's him, or yes, this is what he did, I'm sure there's a part of him that it's like, okay, well, he has to do that because he has immunity. So there are certain things he has to do or it could go against him. But at the same time, if this guy gets off, I'm curious if this is somebody that he would continue a relationship with, because that would say a lot to me on, you know, what's happening right now in his thought process.
Very true. And he's younger than I thought. I thought he was older, but he's actually, Tyler Robinson's currently 23. So
Okay.
he's probably about like 22 when this occurred.
All right.
So, you know, a little
That's
bit younger.
interesting too, because then their brains are still developing.
That's true.
There's a lot of attachment and stuff that goes on during this, like this time in development. So that's interesting. So I'm glad that I asked.
100%.
I understand you're going by Luna at some point.
To some people, yeah, but not as an overall thing. For a short time, yes.
And I understand you're going by Luna at some point.
To some people, yeah, but
He went by a different name at some point.
Who did? He did or Tyler did?
He did, Lance.
Okay.
I think it had to do with his other persona. I guess they call themselves furries.
Which one of the two, did one of them identify transgender?
I believe it is a furry at some point, which was
Oh.
Lance.
Oh. Okay. Oh, somebody said it was his trans name.
I thought they called Tyler Luna. But maybe I got it backwards.
No, somebody said, isn't he a furry?
And I understand you're going by Luna at some point.
You're
Oh,
going by
yeah.
Luna. Yeah, you are going by Luna, and he's talking to him.
to some people, yeah, but not as an overall thing.
What do you think about that? You know, he goes, yeah, but just to some people, but not overall. Like, what do you think about that answer?
Wow. So that says a lot to me. So I also read that while we were watching it too, that YouTube Bad Actor said that in the note, he addressed them as Luna. So, oh, and Birdie says Luna equals Lance. That's interesting though, you guys. You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember with Gypsy Rose? I don't know if you remember this, but they had personas or whatever. Sometimes, now I don't know if this is, I don't know enough to know if this is it Luna? Because he just said some people do, but not all. Does he mean that some people accept him and not all do? Is he talking? So I don't know really. I would love to know more about his background, his family, acceptance, stuff like that. Could it be that Tyler accepted him for being Luna and stuff like that? And maybe he felt, I mean, this just validates more of what I was thinking when it comes to attachment and stuff. This is so interesting. I didn't realize any of this. But it reminds me of Gypsy Rose, because this is the thing. If it has to do with like being a fairy, transgender, any of those things, that would be one thing. If it does not have to do with that, then it reminds me of the Gypsy Rose thing in the sense of by calling you somebody else. So by calling you drunk turkey or, something different, it's still you, but it's like, it gives you a different identity. So that's interesting, but I don't know what context it's being used in, because if it's also being used in the context of transitioning type thing, then that would say to me even more that he probably felt that finally, maybe not finally, but that somebody understood him and still loved him for who he was. We saw the text messages. Tyler was like, I love you, I love you, I love you. So he clearly accepted Lance for who he was. That might play into the way that Lance is reacting right now, because you have to remember, you have somebody that does this horrific thing on one end. I mean, cognitive dissonance is literally what I'm going with here, you guys. So on the next time we talk about this on my thumbnail, I'm sure it'll have cognitive dissonance somewhere, because that's where I keep going back to this. On one hand, he feels accepted and loved by this person. And then on the other hand, this person does a horrific thing that I'm sure he wished he didn't do, because then now, he has to now, do this. This is so interesting to me. I can't even tell you. If it's the transition thing, it just adds so many layers. It just tells me that he's probably in denial for a huge fact that this guy accepts him and now he's no longer going to be around for him.
Well, there seemed like there was a little bit of, I don't know, not complete confidence in it. I mean, he's saying, but only the small people near me. Is that it was like minimizing his involvement in the community and his involvement. There was like, it's just a small part of it. Nobody really knows.
So but that's what that says to me. So somebody just said, what am I explaining here? Lance's behavior? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So in other words, if just so some people called him that, I feel like when he was being referred to as Luna, is that the person? Is Luna who he really identifies as? So whether it be a fairy, transgender, whatever the case may be, Luna is a different identity than Lance. So when he says not everybody, some people, I'm wondering, the people that do refer to him as Luna, does he see that as a sign of respect? Like, these are the people that see me for who I am? And maybe not everybody sees him for who he is. And maybe, people still call him Lance. And I don't know what he wants to be referred to as. But I don't know. I see sadness in these guys' eyes this whole time.
Yeah, it definitely does show up through.
And it makes total sense.
Yeah, through the total of the interview. I think it wasn't as prevalent in the beginning, but as this interview has gone through, you definitely can see it.
It makes so much sense too.
Mm-hmm. And another redaction. A lot of redactions here.
Sure. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have for this portion. Let me check and see if I've missed anything. The Dremel that you talked about, you said he had asked for that, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And had he told you it was to inscribe bullets?
Yeah.
And so did you have a Dremel then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in our apartment, we had a section where we kept all our random tools for household stuff in our lower basement level pantry. So yeah.
Okay. And did you give that to him or tell him where it was?
I just told him where it was, yeah.
So he was like, hey, I want to engrave some bullets. Can you tell me what the Dremel is? And he's like, yeah, it's downstairs in the pantry. Don't seem odd to you?
Yeah, that is odd. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, all this other stuff. But again, when I look at his face, he looks sad. It's almost like I wonder if he was in denial. Like you said earlier, love is blind, right? I'm sure he probably hoped that he probably thought he knew this person, right? And he probably didn't think that this person was going to do anything with the bullets. I mean, unless I don't know, unless we see something different. But as of right now, it seems like even if it's something that you think he might have known or should have known, I see a lot of denial with him.
Maybe.
Like a lot of that, like
What about shame? What about shame? Do you think you see the shame?
Yes, that's what I mean. So that's what this whole Luna thing just gave me a whole different part to this, because I'm sure, yes, there's shame. I see shame too. I'm feeling bad for this guy. I don't know why. I don't feel like people in chat feel bad for him. I feel like, again, I keep going back to the beginning. I need to know more about this Tyler and like the role that he played in Lance's life and why, because again, he involves him and knows that it's wrong because he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry I involved you," type thing. And he said that more than once. But are you really sorry you involved me? Like, you wouldn't have involved me if you were sorry. You know what I mean? Especially not in text messages. I feel like, was he manipulated, Lance? I don't know.
I mean, the whole approach just seems weird. Like, hey, do you know what the Dremel is? I want to engrave bullets.
Yeah, that
just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's not something that most people do. No.
And I think that would garnish further questions. Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What do you mean? I mean, Luigi Mangione had just been arrested and charged, and one of the biggest things was that he engraved those bullets.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wait, Cuff, you just made a good point too. If you're like lovers or whatever, if somebody says that, like, where's the Dremel so I can engrave a bullet, I'd be worried that they were going to use it on me.
It's true.
So the fact that he doesn't, so that's interesting though, right? Because if you're not thinking that way, is it because you guys have talked about this before and you know what's happening? Like, so that is interesting, and I will keep that as an open thought.
That was a great point. Thank you, Kelsey. That is an amazing point.
Very good point.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording for the 11:02 purposes.
So then they go into the text messages.
All right, that concludes State's Exhibit 16. Ms. Hunt.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm going to just try to get to where they actually show up the pictures and see if there's anything that they're trying to say here with this.
That we're on the same page as we go. So here we're looking.
Drop what you're doing, look under the keyboard. You're joking, right? I try to delete that.
So my thing is this, why would you tell me to look under the keyboard? And then when I say you're joking, right, say, oh, I tried to delete that. Like, I don't know. I feel a lot of manipulation here.
I don't know. I feel like this is a lot of stagery.
Right. But so both things could be true, right? So he could be staging it, but it doesn't mean that Lance realizes that, which would then.
Well, I mean, I think there could be stage where they're trying to minimize culpability on Lance's part. You know, a hero, so to speak, the knight in shining armor that's going to lay down on the sword for both of them and go to jail for both.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's kind of what I have a sense of.
Looking at page 1 of State's Exhibit 16.1. If you could read a little more than halfway down where it begins Wednesday, 11 p.m.
So I'm just going to read it myself. These are a little bit clearer. 7 p.m. This still work for you? Yup. I love you too. I hope work is going well. They even do a moi moi, back and forth, a moi moi. Drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. So this is like, it's 4:33 p.m. That's when they exchange the moi mois, and then at 11 p.m. is when he's saying, drop what you're doing.
So my question would be, wasn't he talking about how he left at like 4 a.m?
Mm-hmm.
So he's still not home yet?
It's true.
And if he is home, then why would you text me to look under the keyboard and not just tell me or show me?
It's true. I'm still okay, but I'm stuck in OM for a little bit longer. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, similar clothing. I planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. This is kind of what we were trying to read earlier.
I think it's important though here, the one part where he says that I hope to keep this till his death or an old age or whatever, but he's sorry he involved them. So it's like, but you didn't keep it. I don't know. I'm getting so much manipulation from this Tyler.
All right. So Lance asked him, how long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe.
Oh, wait, go back to the first part.
It says, if I'm able to grab my rifle and see, and I'll have left no evidence. That's a lot of narcissism there.
That's what I'm getting here.
Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. Haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. I'll update you by midnight. All right, stay safe. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right next to it. With the question of how long you've been planning this, and a bit over a week, I believe.
I think he meant a bit over a week, and then I believe I can get close to it. I think I believe goes with the next sentence.
Okay.
Although he does put a period. I said a dot.
It could.
Because that is a very different sentence, right? If he says a bit over a week, I believe, as opposed to a bit over a week. Like what
it is, but I mean, it's just weird. Like, this is so incriminating.
It's so incriminating, especially where he says about the evidence. I will have left no evidence. As again, Daniel, the narcissistic thing, and again, I'm not diagnosing, these are just behavior patterns, but look at all the people that we cover. They all think they're smarter than everybody else. So to them, it's like, you would think like, why, like of all things, why would you write this in a text message? But this person doesn't think that they're going to get caught. So it's like, or they think that like, if we just delete it, nobody will see it.
It's true. That's true.
Unbelievable.
Does anyone else know? Not to my knowledge. It's going to be real effing annoying if I can't get this thing till like 3, then I have to drive back and still go to work. You sure they aren't waiting to see if anyone comes to club? Gotten close enough. They would have jumped me. Read that part.
I feel like the questions from Lance sound like someone that's in shock.
I'm concerned. Just stay safe. Are you okay still? So there's some concern there. Let me go back to see if I can find the very first.
It's unbelievable. The Lomari tells him to look under the keyboard.
Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What? Are you joking? You're joking, right? No, you guys are trying.
I don't know. I feel like if that was staged, one thing, but if it's not staged, I feel like that's the text message of someone that's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, nuh-uh.
I mean, it could. Let's see what they say about. I don't think they show any Discord messages. Let's just hear what they have to say about it.
Let me know when you see that.
Okay, I see it.
Do you recognize this?
I do, yep.
What is it?
This is just more photos of Lance's phone. These are the sorry, I had a brain. Sorry, go with your question, please.
I'm just asking what it is. So you said it's a photo of Lance's phone. Do you know if that's from the same time period as the exhibit we just looked at?
Yes.
And what is it of?
These are the Discord messages of that Lance had talked about.
How do you know that?
So Lance, in the first interview with FBI, shows the phone, and the photos are taken by Agent Larson, and then these images are shown to Lance during a second interview, and he confirms. that these are those same messages, and this is photos of Lance's phone.
You mentioned an Agent Larson took the photos. Do you know if he's the same agent that took the photos of this exhibit 16.2?
Yes, same agent.
And you spoke with him to confirm that?
Yes, I did.
Are you aware if Mr. Twiggs is actually part of this Discord thread?
Yes, he is a part of it. He doesn't, in this section, he doesn't reply to it, but he does state in his statement that he was part of the thread.
Does he identify whether Mr. Robinson is part of that thread?
He does.
And when did that happen?
He identifies that in his first interview with the two FBI agents, and then he again confirms that in the second interview.
Did Mr. Twiggs say what username on Discord Mr. Robinson used, at least with respect to this thread?
Yes, it's the Tyler/Ikum, IKUM.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate?
What did he say his name was? Tyler what?
I didn't catch it.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate representation of that Discord thread?
Yes, it is.
Let me go back a little bit.
It's the Tyler/Ikum, IKUM.
IKUM.
Oh, I don't even know. Wait, it's I don't even know or whatever.
No, that's not what IKUM is like ejaculation.
Oh. Got it.
Crazy.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate representation of that Discord thread?
Yes, it is.
Did law enforcement send, as part of your investigation, did law enforcement send a subpoena to Discord?
Yes, they did.
Were these messages recovered via that subpoena?
They were.
Did you review that?
Yes, I did.
And in State's Exhibit 16.2 that is before you, when is the first message from Tyler sent?
7:57 p.m.
And it says yesterday. Do you have any knowledge of what day that would have been?
Yes, this would have been September 11th.
So Tyler sends the first message that you're seeing on Exhibit 16.2, September 11th at 7:57 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified earlier that Mr. Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office approximately at 9 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And although you weren't physically present there yet because you were flying down, how do you know that he arrived approximately around 9 p.m.?
Just based on the police reports I reviewed and then go back and look at the video and such.
And just so everybody remembers, Charles Kirk was assassinated on September 10th. So when they talk about the 11th, that's the day after. September 10th was the day of that he was assassinated.
Judge, the state moves to admit State's Exhibit 16.2 and publish it pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak. Thank you, Your Honor. We've already lodged all of our objections on all three phases.
All right. Noting the objections, standing objections by defense. State's Exhibit 16.2 is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the gallery, not for distribution on electronic media.
I see it.
Do you recognize this?
I do.
What is this?
This is a handwritten note or letter from Tyler to Lance.
How do you know that?
In Lance's first interview with FBI, he tells them about this letter or note he found under Tyler's keyboard per a text message he received. He states from 11 p.m. on September 10th. And so at that point, Lance finds this. This is the letter he finds under that keyboard.
Okay, so to clarify, Mr. Twiggs gets a text from Mr. Robinson around 11 p.m. on September 10th, telling him to look under his keyboard.
Yes, correct.
And this is what Mr. Twiggs represented was underneath the keyboard.
Yes, yes.
How did law enforcement get this photograph?
So following Lance's first interview at St. George PD, his phone is recovered at that point, taken into evidence. It is downloaded, I believe it was the following day or shortly after that. The FBI transported that phone to the RCFL, which is the Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory in Salt Lake City. The phone was downloaded through Celebrite, and that may be on there. And at that point, that this image of this letter was located.
That was a long explanation on how they got the letter off of the phone, but they got the letter. I wish they would talk a little bit more about what's in the Discord. I wonder if there's conversation about the assassination and how people were reacting before they found out, in quotations, before they found out that Tyler was the person that committed this crime. I wonder if they're trying to hide those.
I'm sure we'll see it. I mean, I would hope that we would see it, but I'd be interested in that too.
We might. I mean, if I would assume that if this is obviously this is going to be the trial against Tyler Robinson, and so how his friends react to the news of Charlie Death's murder, how does that play a role in trial? And maybe perhaps that's why they were able to remove that and get that hidden from us. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe that's possibly what part of it could be, is their reaction.
We'll see.
Because if there's a reaction of that, they're happy about the situation. How would that change your opinion of what Lance has said earlier? If there's something on there that he's excited about what occurred?
No, that would be really disheartening. If there's evidence that I would have to see what it is or hear what it is that he says, but I mean, if there's evidence that shows that he's happy about what happened, then that's just not. I mean, that wouldn't be okay, and that would change a lot of how I feel. I don't know exactly how it would change it because I would have to see the context of it and think about it for a minute, but it would change it. I mean, because I would have to look, like, is this something that's happening out of trauma? Is it so? There's just so many questions, but it definitely would. I would reevaluate if that's the case.
Yeah, I would think that I would find it harder to believe that they weren't aware that this guy was planning this, catching him engraving bullets. I mean, he's literally asking for him. You know, knowing that this was going on, knowing that he's talked about politics in the past in a certain way. I don't know. We'll see. That's just my opinion.
I'm real quick. Finn fan, I got the Humpty Dance reference. He did a line and I knew what song it was. I'm good with my song.
I'm going to break down a few things. You mentioned, I just want to make sure the record's clear. You mentioned Celebrate a few times. What is Celebrate?
It's a downloading software that's commonly used by law enforcement. I don't do that myself.
And you mentioned SIAC. What does that mean?
It's the Statewide Information Analysis Center. It's a division of intelligence, various intelligence information for our individuals, RCFL, that did that. But they, that was then provided to SBI.
It sounds like they're just kind of talking about schematics on how they got certain things, but they're not really going into what's in the messages. It sounds like.
Did you speak with officers at SBI that have recovered this photo that we're seeing in State's Exhibit 16.3?
Yes, I have spoken with an SIAC analyst who particularly found this image. I've spoken to her personally as well.
Was Mr. Twiggs shown what's been marked as State's Exhibit 16.3 during his second interview?
Yes, he was.
And again, you were present for that?
Yes, I was there.
Is Exhibit 16.3 a fair and accurate representation of the photo law enforcement obtained from Mr. Twiggs' phone and that he was subsequently shown in the second interview?
Yes, it's fair and accurate.
Your Honor, the state would move to admit Exhibit 16.3 and then also publish pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak.
Just noting the objections that have previously been made, and I think that the court's order is that it may be published in the courtroom only.
Thank you. Noting the standing objection by defense, 16.3, correct?
Correct.
Is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the courtroom and not be shown or videoed.
I do.
What is it?
These are the images that the FBI released to the public. That would have been on September 11th when those were released. And this was, those were those images that went public of the suspected UVU shooting suspect.
How do you know that?
I've viewed the FBI's website, and I recall seeing these images released on September 11th.
Does State's Exhibit 16.4, is that a fair and accurate representation of what you reviewed from the FBI and that the FBI released?
Yes, it is.
The state moves to admit Exhibit 16.4 and publish according to court order.
Mr. Novak.
No further objection.
I got actually some of the Discord messages. I was able to pull them up. I don't know if they're all of them, but I got 2 of them. And then I see that my buddy Jeff also messaged me. Let's see what he has here.
Nice.
Who's driver? You're the driver? Yeah. Robinson. Can you tell me just really quick what happened?
I was coming this way and he was just passing through and he rolled out from here, or no, from there, I think.
Do you remember which lane you were in?
I was in one of those 2 lanes going this way. I think in the right, in the rightmost lane coming this way.
Okay.
And he would have been there going left. And as I was coming through, he turned in and I T-boned into the side.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the guy in the video. You know, especially the way he wears his glasses and his hat.
I was going to say the hat.
Yeah, I mean, it all looks very, very much so. Let me see if I can. All right, here we are. So these were the Discord messages. Robinson saying, my doppelganger is trying to get me in trouble. Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. That's it. So far, officials have provided no evidence that Robinson claimed. I think I actually got one that's so this is at 3:17 p.m. Charlie Kirk got shot, dead. 4:40, I just saw the video. Holy S. Rest in peace, I guess. Bro didn't deserve to go out like that.
So wait, who wrote that?
I think this is one of his friends.
Got it. Okay.
On Discord. And then he comes in saying, the following day, look at this, 9 p.m. at night the following day. Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at the UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. Y'all been so amazing. Thank you all for everything. Interesting. But this is, I guess, more so on the lines of, well, this is right after, and then this is him saying it wasn't.
Imagine that, his friends.
Yeah. So, and all in all, what do you think about this case so far with the interview and everything? Do you think, one, there's enough there to go forward with the trial?
In my opinion, yes. I do. Just the fact that he tells his friends that it was him, the fact about the look under the keyboard, the fact that he goes back to his parents and that he goes right to Lance or Luna, depending on, you know, that whole thing I need to look into more. But that shows, I mean, a lot of times in situations like this, I like to look at things like attachment, identity. So they're all the things that I'm going to be looking for. Again, I didn't realize until tonight that they were dating or like how close they were. So that was interesting to me. And I think there is enough to go forward with it. And I just hope that Lance does do the right thing and tells, you know, the truth. And it does seem like he's having a hard time when he looked at the picture and said, well, the last two look like they would be him, but I can't say for sure. But he knows. You know, So that just says to me that he has that I think this all comes down to cognitive dissonance. That's what I feel like we're going to be coming back to this whole time. And I think that a lot of people are going to be able to identify with that, because there's a ton of things. If anybody smokes out there, there's cognitive dissonance in that. As you're smoking, part of your brain knows that this could lead to my early death, and another part of you is like, okay, but I need it right now because I'm anxious type thing. So it's like you could have both of those things could be true at the same time in your head. That same type of thing is happening here, I think. So I think cognitive dissonance is something we're going to see over and over again. And I think we're going to see a story of someone who I'm interested to see how much Lance knows. But as of right now, I'm going with the fact that there's trauma involved. But if I do find evidence to where like he knew about this, like that would just, that totally would factor in totally different for me. But as of right now, I'm keeping it as he's traumatized, but he's coming forward with what he knows or what he's been asked to surrender or give to the police. So it's like he's cooperating, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think so far? Is this the letter to Luna?
This is the letter under the keyboard, and thank you, Cuffy, for putting it out there. And yes, it is addressed to Luna. It says at the top, Luna, we something. WA something.
I wonder what that is.
If you are reading this per my text, so he planned to text him to look underneath the keyboard.
Wow.
You're reading this per my
that's
text.
Totally premeditated, right?
Or is it possible that somebody else wrote this after they got the text?
No, in my opinion, I think that would be easy to show. If it were like printed out type thing, and it was
it's
like
not
a Word
printed out.
document.
This is written. How do we
That's
know
what
that?
I'm saying, though. If it was printed out, I think you could say that somebody might have wrote it after the fact. Are you saying that Tyler could have wrote it, but after the fact, or do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, like per my text.
No, that just says to me how, in my opinion, how premeditated this was. That, like, in other words, if I text you later and tell you to go find this, then I'm obviously alive because I'm texting you. If you get this a while later, I'm probably not around. But I didn't read the rest of it, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm likely dead. There you go.
So he goes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I left the house this morning on a mission and set an auto text.
What?
So that's what he's saying. I meant to delete that.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder, they got his phone. I wonder if they'll be able to prove whether or not there was an auto text. And if it wasn't an auto text.
You can send auto text? I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, you can. I can send a text message, put a time on it. It'll go
I
through
had
it.
no idea.
Yeah. I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. I don't know if I will have succeeded, but I had hoped to make it home to you. So, this is a different thought process in my mind. Earlier he was saying, I was going to be home by this time. Now I got to wait. This, that. You even brought it up that he thought he was going to get away with this. This seems very different. This seems like a different thing. I'm still getting very. My skepticism is increasing.
This seems staged to me too. That's totally different. When he's sitting there and he's annoyed that he might have to stay there at 3 a.m. and then still have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is shady.
Yeah, I mean, my skepticism is increasing. I'll just say that.
Well, what about Lance or
about Lance possibly knowing ahead of time? I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that there's a good chance that he may have, but can opener coming in with a membership for 13 months. Good to see you, can opener. Looking forward to this football season. It's going to be a good one, I think.
Go Eagles.
Go Steelers.
I wish
we could have lived in and then it's cut off. Then.
I wish we could have lived. I wonder what he says.
I'm gonna see if I can find the form.
Wow.
Let's see. Okay, so it goes, I don't know if I will have succeeded, but I hope to make it home to you. I wish we could have lived in a world where this did not feel necessary. I wish I could have stayed for you and lived our lives together. I lack the words to express how much I love you and how very much you mean to me. Please try and find joy in this life. Love you always, Tyler.
Now that is so manipulative. I need to like ponder over that a little bit. But this whole time, I keep getting more and more like I keep going back to why did Tyler choose Lance? I don't know. I keep going back to manipulation and.
Are we sure Tyler chose Lance? Maybe it was the other way around.
No, I don't mean it that way. I mean psychologically. Like, in other words, what role does Lance or Luna play for Tyler as far as his attachment, his identity, stuff like that? Like, two people dance together as far as, like, you know, they work for each other. Not work like that, like workout type thing. Like, you know, like you and Steelers fan, you guys work together in some way. So I'm wondering, like, what those roles were. Like, I want to look into this relationship even more because, again, on one end, this is somebody that's going through trauma. On the other end, it's premeditation. And there's that's a huge pendulum there to swing. So I have a lot to ponder on here.
What about the fact that he says, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I took it? Like, I mean, it's almost like he is expecting Lance to know who Charlie Kirk is.
Great point. Great point. He didn't say I had the chance to take out a political figure that, you know, I had different issues. Like, none of that. He says Charlie Kirk. And the friend in the Discord says Charlie Kirk got killed. So he doesn't say a political figure. So even the friend, that just says to me, like you're saying, like that's a sense of familiarity.
I agree. And like I said, my skepticism is high. But oh
my God, Daniel, you're right. Because I'm like, the more I look at this, you're right. Because I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. He didn't say any, like, who's Charlie Kirk?
Yeah.
So he had to have known who he was.
I agree. I'm sure they discussed this and you know, he's trying to minimize, you know, his involvement, which makes me wonder how much more involvement he had. That's why he's saying he doesn't know who Charlie Kirk is, etc. I don't know. There's a lot of this that's staged.
Distancing. Yeah, I'm sure that's distancing too because he doesn't want to get himself in trouble.
I agree.
I also wonder, so that also, if I put my psychological hat or my psychology hat on, I would also wonder, could that distancing be less about the law and more about the optics of what that means or what that looks like, what other people's perceptions of him are going to be? Because even when they asked about Luna and he said not everybody referred to me as that, just some people did, I feel like he didn't get the opportunity or isn't getting the opportunity still to live whatever it is he identifies as, because he doesn't, like, he's not being referred to as Luna during this interview. If it was something that people accepted of him, everybody would know him as Luna or accept him as Luna. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know what his family dynamics are. I'm wondering if this is more about how he will be perceived and his family unit might be perceived, or is this about, like, I need to watch myself at the law because he does have immunity?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of psychological stuff going on here.
There definitely is. And that's why you're the best guest too.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Try to break that down.
I appreciate it.
Yes, man. Because like there's so much here. You know, I mean, again, this is just the preliminary hearing that we saw. I'm sure when it comes down to trial, we're going to see a heck of a lot more. You know, obviously a heck of a lot more when it comes to that. And so I'm for it. I'm for getting all the evidence out there and for the transparency. I was shocked that there were some things that were redacted, because I don't think they're going to be redacted from trial anyways. And so, I guess what you're trying to do is not put out so much that you taint the jury. So whatever it is that they redacted must have been very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Incriminating.
Yeah. So
something else just came to me too, and I feel like this is interesting. So I also just thought about this too. So to Tyler, if we are talking about like a transitioning type thing, or like a different, like a gender identity or something along those lines, was Tyler dating Luna? Because if Tyler was then in a relationship with Luna, it's probably easier to come forward as Lance. Does that make sense? Because it's like Lance is the one now that's like not being loyal.
Yeah.
There's so much about this identity stuff that I need to look into.
It really is. It really is. Well, I've kept you over 2 hours.
It didn't even feel like it this time. I felt like this time flew today.
It did. Well, I mean, there's so much interesting stuff, and this was something that both of us hadn't seen before. And so I think that it really made it for a very good show for everybody. So please hit the like button. Make sure you go check out The Mind Behind True Crime with Dr. Vona. This is her channel. Let's get her going. Also, while you're checking out the other channels, check out Married to the Hobby. This is my other channel that I do with my wife. We, in fact, we just dropped in the video earlier today. Let me refresh this. There it is. It's Is Wife Look Real? Let me tell you, she cooked me. I got beat.
Oh, I love that.
So Is Wife Look Real? This was a trip that we went to Fredericksburg. Everybody's laughing about this part because I was talking about the watermelon's butthole. Apparently, the smaller the butthole of the watermelon, the sweeter the watermelon.
I just heard that too. I had no idea.
Yeah. I think I saw it on TikTok. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going.
It is true. I looked it up. I asked ChatGPT because somebody was telling me that in Walmart, and I was like, "What?" And then I looked it up, and it's true.
Yeah. So go check it out. I'd appreciate it if you guys would. We're at 335 subscribers.
Nice.
I'm trying to get to 500 subs, so I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. You want to see paranormal stuff from me? I got some paranormal stuff. I think I got to see if I still got the video or the picture. I actually captured a shadow figure in his house once on a trail camera. And it's pretty interesting when you see it, because it's like in the middle of the room, and behind it is a clock, but the shadow is so dark that you can't see the clock through it. It's really weird. I'll see if I can find the image. And there's also this pink anomaly in the bottom corner that pops out too. It's weird. It's a weird thing. So we'll have to do something like that soon. I know that the government released some more UFO files. So maybe this weekend I'll do a paranormal UFO show. So make sure you like and subscribe to catch that. But what do you have going on the rest of this week, Doctor?
I always know you're going to ask this. You think I'd be more prepared. Probably Mackenzie Shrilla. I've been on that case, and I'm almost done all of her gibberish. I actually translated it. I know a lot of creators think that they've translated it, but they have not. I literally translated it word for word, and I'm like confident. In Mackenzie Shrilla terms, I'm hella confident. Helly, she would say hella confident. Helly confident. She talks so weird. My husband now will be like, "On God, James." I'm like, "Oh my God, stop it." Like, he's even using her phrases. He's doing it because I literally am listening to it all the time. But I'm like, he told me that I said "on God" the other day. I'm like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "On God, you did." I was like, "Stop it," because she says that too. I'm like, "Oh no." That's when you know you've been doing this too much. How about you?
I have world-renowned forensic psychologist from the UK on tomorrow night.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
It's a pre-recorded show. We've already done it. It's an interview that it's going to be premiered. It's about the Brian Koberger case. Her name's Carrie Danes. She's in the UK. She's interviewed and talked with multiple high security individuals, prisoners, max security prisoners, rapists, murderers, killers. In fact, in one such situation, she ended up getting stabbed. Pretty crazy scenario. We don't really go too much into that, but I was watching some of her interviews about it, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, we talk about the Brian Koberger case. And
Wow.
We go real deep into, what type of person he was. Was he willing to do this again? Was he trying to do it again during that time that he got caught? Was it his first time, etc.? What may have motivated him, and a couple of other things. And so you don't want to miss it.
Hear what she says, because I want to see if she thinks the same things I did. That's interesting.
I would say that there's a lot of similarities there. And then on Sunday, I'll probably do something else. And then on Wednesday, I have Monks on from Monks and Tree. And so he's going to be back on. We're going to be talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. And also, guys, I don't think I've told anybody this, but in a couple of weeks, I might take a few days off from posting. I'm going to be recording a video, but I'm also going to be going out of town. I've been brought on as a consultant for a Cold Case Foundation, and we're going to be doing a couple of things out of town on a couple of cases, and try to get some answers for some folks. And so,
I love that. If they ever need help psychologically, give them my number. I would love to help.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. One of the cases that we're going to be going and talking with is actually a potential person of interest in a very high-profile double murder that occurred quite a bit of while ago. It's very high-profile, and it got a respark probably in 2022. People started talking more about it. I'm giving some clues about which one it is, but I'm not going to say which one because I don't want, just in case it gets back to this guy. He sees me and my partner show up. Don't want him to, automatically know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
that's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be helping out a good buddy of mine who's helped me out a lot. And he had asked me, and the world works in mysterious ways, right? Because I wasn't able to go. And then my house got struck by lightning, and I've had to deal with that. And I've actually had to take some time off, and it allowed me the opportunity to be able to go.
Wow.
So, crazy stuff. But yeah, I'll be doing some videos and stuff while we're there. And I'll make sure that we do a video afterwards to kind of explain where I was for the whole week. I'll try to do a live while I'm out there. This is going to be in a couple of weeks, so I got some time to do a few shows between now and then. But yeah, I'm excited about it.
Very good. And Miss Barbara Hall's in the house. I haven't seen Barbara in forever, so hi, Barbara.
Good to see you, Miss Hall. Good to see you. And so it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to the trip.
Yes, that's amazing. I can't wait to see what you got.
Yes, ma'am. Well, everybody, it was a pleasure talking to you, to Ms. Dr. Vona, and to everybody else tonight. Y'all be safe. I'll see you guys on the premiere tomorrow night.
Thank you.
And then on Sunday as well.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you, Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Peace out, y'all.